Hello there and welcome to the GA Agenda. The Presbyterian Church of East Africa is on a transitional moment. Some of the offices of the General Assembly are actually getting new holders while others are leaving. And so we'd want to understand some of these offices, how they work, how they run their day-to-day businesses, and what other way than looking at these offices through the lenses of former office holders. My name is Leon Poke, and this evening I'm joined by the former Secretary General, who is actually now a retired minister. He goes by the name Reverend Festus Gitonga. Karibu sana, Rev, to the show.
Thank you, Leo.
How are you doing?
I'm well, sir. And I thank God.
Asante
Very
sana.
grateful to the Lord.
Yes.
Yes, I'm happy and enjoying the retirement.
All right.
Yes,
How's
sir.
retirement taking you, by the way? No early mornings?
Yes, but no early morning, yes. But I find myself more busier than when I knew that I'm waking up to go to this particular and do 1, 2, 3.
Really?
Sometimes you are expected to do some more, especially when you're invited to say something. It's not just preaching, but to say something that makes you now dig deeper some issues. And also if you have an invitation to preach, you also find you have time to prepare. But you realize now it's not the way you used to do things quick. You are now moving at speed. But it is enjoyable. So far I've enjoyed. I hope it will continue like that. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence on this evening. We are speaking about the General Assembly agenda.
Yes, sir.
And you are a former Secretary General of this church.
Yeah, right.
It is in the 19th General Assembly.
Yes.
Please explain to us how it was. Actually, first start with introducing yourself, then let's go straight ahead to how your office was.
Well, my name is Festus Kaburu Gitonga. I was born in Meru. I studied there. The primary school was PCA. It was that Gakon Primary School. And there was a church there, PCA Gakon Church. And then in the secondary school, I went to the Gas Secondary School. It was a mixed, what was then known as Harambe School. I did not make it with the colors that could get me into the senior school, or as we used to call them, the government schools. I was there in the middle, and so I went there. But I thank God that from there I was able to join Meru High School for my A-levels, and from then joined the University of Nairobi before working at a retro and then joining the ministry. While I was young, on 9th of May 1971, I got baptized after staying so long in the catechism classes without passing. There was a moment when you could study for a year and then you are examined to go. So I dropped so many times that it took so many years. I remember even 1969, 68, 69, there was some revival that allowed people to be baptized and then be taught later. But then the caveat was those who are attending classes must complete the classes. Those who are not exempted, and I was one of those who are not exempted, where others were. And during the baptism time, I was baptized by the Reverend Elias Kabe, who is still alive, and we thank God for him. The man who did a lot for us. And it was after the preaching that I responded to an altar call and got saved. I was young, but I thank God that I got saved that time. It's from there that even when I joined the secondary schools, I found myself in the leadership of the Christian Union, both the A-level and the A-level. But also when I went to the University of Nairobi, I was in the worship committee organizing the services for the Protestant students. And it helped me and shaped me quite a lot. Along the way, I had desired to serve, especially after seeing the ministers who were serving that time. You would just have that desire and admire. But the transformation and radical transformation came when I joined the university, I felt now I need now to serve this Lord. I got interacted with all kinds of teachings, preachings, and people and character, and it opened my understanding and the urge to join the ministry. I didn't know exactly where to begin. And again, the society that was, when you are in the university, they expect you to go out and become a big man. And then you are diverting the attention there. It was not a very easy moment. But after university, I worked for Securico Kenya Limited, and after a short while, having been born in the village, I came to the city for the university. I never decided to go to the city. So the government employment they gave me was to post me in Jomo Kenyatta Mwatate, one teacher. I never reported, and he never responded. So when the Securico employed me, I was happy that I would be in Nairobi. Unfortunately, they took me to Mombasa. But I said it's better than going to a rural place. Yeah. Well, it is from Mombasa I went to work in Kitare. I also got in touch with people who are preaching and got involved in the caravans that were preaching then. So when the idea now to join the ministry came, I started now looking back to the roots. By then I had resigned from Securico, and eventually became a teacher, what I was running away from. And I thought very briefly in Chogoria Girls. It's when I was in Chogoria Girls that I met Reverend Samuel Kenywa Maina, who helped me understand that the processes clearly, and took my hand and enabled me to, go through the process from the local church to the parish to the presbytery, and in the presbytery got a very understanding minister, the retired minister, Reverend Erastus Mbaka. And in the presbytery they listened to me, guided me, and they forwarded me to the training committee. I was interviewed by the Reverend John Jiwanjau. There was a minister called the Reverend Moses Mutwiri, and there was also the Reverend Dr. Kimani Jege. They were constituting a committee at that time. They interviewed me, and I was told to go and wait for the results. So the surprising thing is that having joined the teaching, I thought I would now be again a teacher, and I was never trained to be a teacher. Again, that's another thing. So the opening was there that you can join the Kenyatta University for a postgraduate diploma in education then. So I just decided to apply. The other person filled the forms. The challenging thing is that the moment the forms came is the moment the results the interview results came, and now I had a way to balance the equation. Now you are saying the ministry, yeah, it is. You maybe you join now as a professional teacher, maybe things will be like this. But somehow I was already married, tried to consult with my wife, and somehow in the end, she told me it is you who is listening. Listen further to what you are what you are hearing, and I chose that that is the way we should go. And so I was admitted in St. Paul's United Theological College for theological training. It took 3 years, and they were tough years because when I was with Securico, they had better pay, even higher pay, but there was no time to move about enjoying that one. You have to work to earn it. When I came to the ministry, to the teaching, they had a lot of time, but the pay was lower. So again, when I joined the ministry, both the time and the money disappeared, and you are left with the work. And it is work. And after the short brief stay in 3 years, I was posted to Mohito Parish not Mohito, but Diaini Parish in Mukroini Presbytery. did not stay long. Before even license drawn in I was transferred to Nakuru West. And so in Nakuru West, I stayed for until I was licensed and ordained, after which again I was posted to Mombasa, Makupa Parish. From Makupa, I was posted to Nanyuki Parish. This was in Nanyuki that I got an opportunity to go and study, and did a little of I did my master's in theology from Columbia Theological Seminary. And when I came back, I was posted in Nyahururu. From Nyahururu, I came back to the Nanyuki, but the parish had been subdivided, so I joined the Lagati Parish. It is while in Lagati Parish I saw an advertisement in the church that required to have a separation at the time of the Secretary General's office and be an employee rather than be elected. And they created a post that was known as the Executive Secretary General.
Okay.
I applied together with others. We were interviewed, rigorous interviews we went through, and somehow I passed.
So which year was this that you ran for office for the Secretary General?
That was not learning. It was that was to be. The aim was according to our constitution and records that in 1985 there was a move to separate the office of the Secretary General and the Principal Clerk, and later on also to give this office of the Secretary General executive powers, so as to be an employee with the targets to fulfill rather than just be elected.
Okay.
And so in 2002 it was done, and in 2000 I did the interviews, and 2003 we were waiting to be inducted, and actually was inducted, but it was short-lived, and the position was scrapped. That went, and then went back to, after some time, went back to the parish again. That was Tumotomo. So I served in Tumotomo briefly, and then Thika Parish, in Thika Presbytery. After which, I think that is when I was elected the Secretary General now, and reported here. The terms of the Secretary General.
Yeah, so through all these shifts, you had a young family, you are growing up a family. I'm assuming all that movement kind of threw you off balance, because you have a young family. Children need to at least have good foundation of school. We will get back to that, how you manage that family and work-life balance. Now take us through now, you are now the Secretary General. Which General Assembly, and what were the requirements for you to hold that office?
Well, we came in 19th General Assembly. You don't apply. This is one of the interesting parts. You may desire, but you don't apply. But the business committee is mandated by the church, our policies, the practice and procedure, our laws, that when a vacant place is there, they act as the nomination committee. So the business committee also has another committee that scrutinizes the names of all the ministers. And then they pick a few who will be presented to the presbyteries. One of the things is that for a Secretary General, and like others, you have to be between 40 and 50 years. The second thing is in level of education, the minimum they accept is a master's. So master's and up. And so they pick those people with the master's and doctorate who are within that age bracket, and who, according to them, have met other qualifications, like being consistently in a parish or in a place you have been praised by the church, and having proven some leadership capabilities as you move on. Now there are other people now looking at you, not you saying I send them. Unlike the other one, you would apply. This one, the masses of God now, the masses of people.
The responsibilities are bigger.
They now then put the names across. The time agreed upon, the presbyteries are presented with your name and your biodata, and then they vote. Each presbytery votes either for one of the candidates. The one who gets the majority of the votes becomes their candidate, or their nominee. And now there's one vote. You must get to that of the presbyteries. The presbyteries were not as many as they are now, but somehow by grace we managed and we were elected. So the age was there, the education is there, and those other things that they consider. Again, it is not that you have a pride. No, that's where the challenge is. We have many people who would be capable and reliable, but then maybe they are knocked out by the age, maybe they are knocked out by the education, maybe they have not been spotted by those who look at them. How they look, don't ask me, I will not be able to say, but they looked and found me somehow. Yes.
Now, were you required to at least sell your agenda to these presbyteries? Because these are the people, these are the electorate. Just as normal Kenyan campaigns, were you required to campaign or sell your agenda?
I hope that will be possible in the future, but even knowing you are in the list was always kept a secret.
Okay.
You get to know. And even if you heard maybe the name is there, and sometimes you wonder maybe the name of so and so is there, and when it is open, it's not there. So a grapevine rumor sometimes. But then sometimes you would hear, even if you hear you are there, you don't know how to say, who told you? How did you get it? Yeah, so you remain quiet until the time.
Yeah.
But hopefully one time people will be given an opportunity, maybe to those who have been nominated will be given an opportunity to see what they are capable of doing.
Yeah.
Maybe as changes come, things also need to change.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Now you have settled in office.
Yes.
You are now Secretary General.
Yes.
The church's CEO, Chief Executive Officer.
That term is not
Is
the
it
best.
right?
Though the Constitution says so, you realize that you are not in a secular place. And when you talk about executive, chief executive officer, you may find that in the trappings in the societal outside there, under the trappings of the church are two different things. This is a spiritual, sometimes we say, though it's administrative, it is administrative matters of the church. And your powers, you can't assume the powers the way the CEOs of companies and organizations take powers. It's a spirit-led move where others are as capable as you are. So you listen to one another and then move on. You execute the demands of the General Assembly.
All right.
And yeah.
So while at that now, just draw us a picture of your role now as an SG. What were you mandated with?
Now, before we talk of anything to do with your duties and other things, you realize that you have been put there by a power, the General Assembly. You better understand who the General Assembly is, because the General Assembly, when it meets once in every 3 years. After which it delegates its work to the General Administration Committee, or famously known as GSC. The GSC meets once per year. Now, GSC can meet anywhere else, but statutory, until the church advises, otherwise the GA meets in St. Andrews. They have their mandatory month, actually, according to the Constitution, is April. And when they meet to expand and adjudicate all matters of the church to do with doctrine, to do with discipline, to do with the worship and the governance. And so you understand that when you are the Secretary General, you don't go to the General Assembly as the Secretary General. You are turned into a principal clerk. And as a principal clerk, then there are those duties that you are expected to perform. While in that meeting, you remember you are like the advisor to the moderator on matters of law and procedure, so that things should not go out of hand when you are there, because you are supposed to be versed with the constitution and the matters of the governance of our church. That body, therefore, that accepts you there, you operate there as the principal clerk together with the deputy principal clerk, and the whole General Assembly makes policies. And when you are there, you are reporting, you are making policies that the Secretary General will be expected to implement. Immediately, the General Assembly is over, or the GAC, the matters are left in the hands of the Business Committee, which is the advisory body for the General Assembly, and particularly for the Secretary General. So you have no excuse of not doing what you're supposed to do, or being stuck somewhere there, because you have all these advisors from all the presbytery. And also you have the team group in the secretariat here, led by the moderator, who is the chairman of the General Assembly, the chairman of even the Business Committee when they're meeting, and the GAC when they are meeting. So when you talk about your duties now, when you come to implementation, you come to the office now, you have left the policy making to the policy implementation now. And therefore, you have to communicate now the resolutions that have been passed to the presbyteries and the standing committees and the region, if the region is involved, of what is required of them by the General Assembly. Apart from day-to-day running of an office, you have those one also. You become also the liaison person between the General Assembly offices and the presbyteries and the regional councils and the standing committees and all other that is involved. And you have colleagues, and you have also the secretariats around here. So the work is there, and you are expected to give guidance on what needs to be done. And so you also receive the communications from our ecumenical friends, bodies, and the church that we are in a partnership with. And so things, the office is full of activities, and you need to have a very competent admin there in that office to be receiving calls and sometimes be able to give guidance on them, and those things that are tabled on your table, you deal with them, whether they are from the presbytery or from the standing committees. And where action is required, you dispense with it as fast as possible. Where in doubt, you have the moderator to consult, and deputy who can have a sitting, and then, or where you need to present the matter to the General Assembly, not to the General, to the Business Committee, is presented, and you are given assistance as it is required. I think that's a problem.
It's an office that really has a lot of work to be done.
It is, it is.
And of course, with that work, we have some challenges that come with it. But we will get into that in a short while. We'd like to just take a quick break, pay our bills, and come right back to have you talk about some of these challenges. And of course, you had light moments while in the office. We'd like to hear that from you. All right, so viewer, we take a quick break. See you on the other side of this program. Welcome back to the General Assembly agenda. We are having a sit down with the former Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, Reverend Festus Gitonga. Rev, before we went for the break, you had outlined some of the duties of the office of the Secretary General. Quite a lot to be done there, and of course with it comes challenges. So what are some of the challenges that you'd remember that hit your table and needed you to make decisions and make the office run?
Well, as I've told you, you are not alone, even when you are making decisions. You have advisors, and I've told you the businesses. The business committee is one of the advisory. You have also the colleagues, the moderator, and the deputy secretary general, and there's also sometimes the honorary treasurer. Now, issues come from all over. Some are not very good, and they are demanding that you respond. A problem occurs somewhere and somebody is sacked. And then he goes to court. Although you have your lawyers, the court rules that the person needed to be paid and not retro money. And to you, he did wrong and he needed to be sacked. You know, those are not good moments when you are ordered by the court and you ask the lawyer, what went wrong? This person did this and surely it can be seen. And you are reminded the law of the land is supreme when it comes to civil and also criminal matters. And so you are ordered to pay. And those are not very good moments. Some other times you have been instructed by through a resolution of the General Assembly to go and do something. When you try to touch it, you realize it is not as easy. When you go to the business, you are reminded that it's a policy that you have to work on. And now when you go to the depth of it, I'll give you an example. The resolution was passed that all groups, church groups now, should be removed from the national level and remain in the parish level. You are also told that the people therefore who have been working for these groups in the regional, as regional councils, the coordinators, organizers, now what do you do with them? If somebody is 50 years and the retirement age is 60, you go to the lawyer, you have some lawyers in the businesses, and you consult the church lawyer. He stipulates to you what needs to be done for you to remove somebody or to sack somebody or to tell somebody his work is over to go home. And you realize his payments. The church is struggling with the money here, you are told. So you take it to the business and say, you are reminded you are the one to implement, so go and look for the finances from the finance committee. So when you look, you are dealing with 3, 4, 5 people and each you require quite a substantial amount of money. You scratch your head without knowing exactly. And again, these people whom you are told to go and tell them to go home, they are families, they are colleagues, and there they are. They make your head ache, though you have been instructed to do it. And when you try to talk to them, you know, you are also afraid. When they go to court, could it be like the other case you lost? And you drag your feet in trying to do some of these things. You go to HR people and they tell you these are the procedures of relieving somebody of their duty and the likely payments. So you look at both sides, the legal and the other things, the money side. You come and just sit down and the head is aching and you ask the moderator, what do we do? He tells you, now think. And you ask the other one, think. So you keep quiet without knowing how you will be fired back when you go back to the General Assembly. Those are not good moments to laugh. Or when you are told that you remove, like it was said that we remove the RIS from their work. The policy has been passed. It is okay. The other years for our ministers, it was easy to realign them to the ministry. But remember, the work they were doing is left pending and nobody has been given. So when the challenges come from there and they are the ones who are dealing with it, it lands on you and you go to ask for help and say, by the way, who was dealing with it? Can you ask the ministers who are there? Now, you took somebody out by the order of the policy.
The policy, yeah.
And that's the work is not left to anybody. And this is the suffering sometimes we suffer. You feel very uncomfortable when you see it. Another one is when you have loans with some institutions and they tell you the threats. You know, you don't enjoy those threats from those organizations or threats from their lawyers. And when you also consult your lawyer, it's as if they are telling you, you know, and that has to be paid. So we go back to the to the business now. It began now to look at things. All these are challenges. Or, for example, when the KRA visited us and they gave us a big demand, and you see, these are taxes. You know, when they come and they land on you, therefore you don't know what to do. These are not moments you say with a lot of fellowship, all is well, all is well. No. And when you come again to the business, you are given people who advise you, they know actually. But in the end, you see, KRA is KRA, they will still get the money that is genuinely theirs. You see, these are things that keep on coming, and you are there receiving people who come with questions that requires answers. Sometimes you don't have those answers. You make your normal consultation, then we agree to call a business to table the matters. The business comes, looks at the issues, the figures, they understand, and then they give you the way forward, where the money needs to be raised. Like in that case, you said, okay, they have people who are conversant with taxation matters, and they say this isn't genuine, and this is not genuine. What is genuine has to be paid. So again, they come in for the presbytery. These are not good moments. They are hard moments, and you can learn away from them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So now, those are policy issues that you really had to make a decision on. What about decisions that you needed to make, probably not popular decisions that you as a person needed to make? How did you come out of them? For example, you knew this has to be done, you have to make it. How did you come out of those decisions? Well,
you believe yourself, and knowing that you are doing what you are doing is, first of all, it's affecting another person like you, a colleague, who may be even senior to you. We don't talk of seniority in the ministry in terms of how old you are, but the years of ordination. And that is what is considered. Okay. They could be senior with you. Actually, they were ordained way before you. Okay. And they could also be senior also in the age. Or they could be your age mate but were ordained before you. They are your senior in that ordination level. And you see you are left stranded. It's very agonizing when you have issues that you have to make. And you know this is the right thing, but it will affect the other person. Especially when cases are presented to you from the presbyteries, especially when you are dealing with the discipline of a colleague. Those are not very good moments. But then you have to stand by what the law says. Much as you love him, you have to stand with the law. These are moments that you don't negotiate what the law says. Though there are a lot of counseling ways of saying you deal with this person, but when it comes to certain issues, much as you love the person, the action taken there or done there need to be dealt with. And sometimes you feel heavy hearts when you are producing a report to the church. That's when the social relief work. And remember, he goes home to a family. He lives in a community. When you meet with him next time in a mall or somewhere, you see, you don't feel very comfortable either. It's not good.
Yeah.
They are not, but decision has to be made.
Yeah.
Or when, for example, you know, though the Deputy Secretary General is the secretary to the appointment, and therefore most of the things there, when complaints come, they come to the Secretary General's office, either to the presbytery or personally, with a copy to the moderator and a copy to the deputy.
Yeah.
You understand somebody has been told to go, but some reasons that are being advanced are quite heavy. But the others, even when they look heavy, you insist they go. And the policy of the church, first of all, is you report, then you come and complain if something has not been intercepted. In between here, the person faces you and tells you, do you really care? You know, you feel it. But what do you do?
A decision has to be made.
A decision has to be made.
All right.
And you may not be very pastorally as you would want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you've mentioned some of other officials that comprise up of the General Assembly.
Yeah.
This is the moderator, yourself as the Secretary General, the Deputy Secretary General, and the Honorary Treasurer.
Yeah.
So how did you ensure a seamless work relationship between the other three offices so that at the end of the day, you're speaking the same language?
I was blessed to work with Reverend David Gadanj, was the moderator. And in the first year, we worked with, he's the one who welcomed us, Reverend Francis Joroge. And there was something that was, that had developed, which I valued so much, that we could go and visit the moderator's office every Tuesday. Sometimes before we go for prayers, because that office is busy also, very busy. People come to see him from all partnership, from members, and, you know, presbyteries and whatever. So we would create a time before we go for prayers, where we would, it's also the duty of the Secretary General to update the moderator on all the issues that have been brought to the attention of the office. Though he has the copy, you go and brief him what you have heard, and then sometimes you take a common line in direction. And so we worked with Francis Joroge. Amon Dedi was the honorary treasurer, and Reverend Gadanju, very Reverend Gadanju, was the Gadanju was the moderator. Now, in those meetings and others we created, we would see all the correspondences, all the issues that are there, and sometimes we could agree, and where we see we needed some more enforcement, we would go and inquire. If it's a legal matter, we inquire from our lawyers. If it's something that we needed to have a backing of the business committee, we would look at the timings of the time of the business committee, whether it can wait or we bring it closer, or we can be dealing with the matter before we report to the business. Those meetings to me were very, very useful. They produced a team that could not easily be swayed or penetrated. And after 1 year, we were joined by the current moderator, who was then the Deputy Secretary General. He came and we continued. Challenges are there, of course. Different opinions are there. But you see, when you talk what there is, and we leave the moderator to do the pastoral duty, and the Secretary General and the Deputy Secretary General to execute that which has been done. Somehow, corrections would come on the way you approach the issue. Some of us are gifted differently. There are those who are given the gift of patience and listening. Some of us have no time to really listen a lot, but you want things, you know, the heap of work here, you want to do this and then and you go on. So that way it embarrassed us and brought us together, such that anybody calling the office or writing to the office, we knew when we sit down, we will have a common ground or to approach the issue. To me, it made my work enjoyable, because even if you went to the moderator, you'll be told the same thing that we have. that time, I mean, that moment when issues that were heavy, and we present and we share and we see the possibilities of A, B, C, D. Again, reminding ourselves of the Constitution. That was my duty now to remember. The Constitution says so. Before we go to meet with the moderator, I had to be sure what the Constitution says. Yeah. And so we look for the way forward. So it was a team that I enjoyed working with. And I've told you, when you fail, actually the failure is more personal now rather than the team. Even in the business, even if they are advising you, when success comes, it's 4 of us. But when the matters backfire, and this, as they often sometimes backfire, you can't pass the blame to other people. Sure. You swallow it, and it is very hard. It's very, very hard to swallow it, actually. But you have to swallow it. And sometimes you are supposed to apologize some issues.
Now, your tenure as a Secretary General came to an end.
Yes.
And now there was a shift from that office to you being now a parish minister. How was that shift? Did you find it challenging, or how was it?
Somehow you get prepared of the things that are ahead, but it is challenging. I tell you, it is. Now, you have gone to the presbytery. By the way, the Constitution says that when you leave the office, you regain your ability now to be in the presbytery. And you can be elected to represent the presbytery in higher courts and higher committees. But it requires you to be humble, because you are meeting with the colleagues. Sometimes you brush your shoulders with. And now you have to be careful and be humble enough. It's a bit humiliating some cases. The people whom you are telling what to do are also going to tell you what to do. And you meet the moderator, and you meet a clerk whose powers are equal to the powers you had on the other side. You was now a national, now it's a presbytery. So if you blend well with them, you really you do well, and you assist them to do things. Somehow, when I went, I was chosen as a moderator of a presbytery. A work I felt honored to do, and we were able to, you understand the church, so you are able to help them quite a lot, to help others quite a lot, and know where to turn and how to go about it. That way it becomes enjoyable. But in the same community, you have people you said you must do this, it has to be done this way and not the other way. Now you meet the other people with you, equal with you. You don't have any extra votes, you don't have any extra power. Some respected you, others just looked at you. And you accept humbly the position is service, whether in the national or in the presbytery or in the parish. And you do the work. The good thing is the parish work compared to this other work, you are able to feel relaxed. But again, the same people. You meet others who will oppose you, not for the no good reason at all. But you have to journey on. And sometimes it's not easy, especially when you are pushed into a corner. And though in the parish, when you have been in this office, in the parish, there is that gap. Whether we want to accept it or not, there is that gap that tells you. And the Secretary General is not like the moderator's office, where he's a church father. You come back to, although also the moderators go back to the parish, there is that respect. This is a church father. Huyu ndiye alituana atuumiza. Huyu ndiye sasa
tumkamate sasa.
Sasa ako hapa. And PC has no big people and small people. We are all servants. Whether given this opportunity, and we are talented differently. You have people there, I tell you, who have good ideas, but I said you, the nomination committee do not look at them. Maybe they would have done better job than me, but somehow I got the opportunity. Yes.
Now, when all is said and done, at the end of the day, you are a husband, you are a father. How did you manage the work and family balance? Because again, you mentioned when you started off your ministry, you had to move a lot.
Yes.
How did you manage that balance?
One of the things I will be ever live to be thankful to God for is my wife. God has given her that resilient, even when things are very tough. Like they were tough, I said, in 2003, during that transitional time. She was able to stand with me and also correct me and challenge me no matters you are called to serve. So is this service or what are you looking for here? You know, being brought back to line. That she has prayed again to be available for the children when I'm absent. She has stood. So she forfeit so many other things. Until she retired, she was a primary school teacher. She had done up to high levels and she did not pursue others. So she kept the children, and I think that is one of the things I would have missed. Because movements, like the firstborn had a lot of challenges because of these movements. We moved to so many schools, and for those 8 years that were there, she went to many schools actually. Many schools. Some for a very short time, others we tried to take him to the boarding, but it did not work. Just joined again. But when you are available and you meet the wife who is, you know, shielding them for on your behalf, you join, you take part where you are supposed to take part. And of course they have their questions, tough questions, hard questions, which if the two of you, the husband, the wife, you are and disagreed on anything, then it can be difficult. So he would explain the ministry, the meaning of the ministry, and that's where you and Dad is. And they would ask you questions. So and so he's also in the ministry. They are able to have this, and we don't have this. We are able to do. You know, these are questions of the children, and it is good that they ask, and you allow them to ask. So when the little moment you are available, you be with them. When you leave them, you make sure you visit them as often as you like when I went to Mombasa, the transfers were not readily available for the teacher. Again, other complications in the parishes. So you rent a place for them. From a month which was well equipped to go to buy items for a place in the community there, you can't afford a good, decent house. It was hard. And you leave them for several months before the transfer is available. Again, the transfer comes before you settle. And that is one of the things when we were in the office, we looked at the constitution and said, unless there is an issue, let somebody stay at least for 5 years in a particular place. Again, it did not talk well with some, but it helped others, at least minimum of
5 years.
I mean, maximum of 5 years. It helped a bit to settle, and when cases have been reached pastorally or administratively through the presbytery, when it affected the children, I think the moderator was very considerate. He would argue the case, and the committee, standing committees like appointment to listen, or you would advise them to, or her to go through the presbytery. These are moments where consultation did a lot, and for us as a family, the church has so many good things, and it's also it has brought us so many challenges as we keep on moving up and down.
All right. Now, Rev, as we bring this to a close, just quickly, would you remember a memorable moment in office, whether now as a minister or as Secretary General? A memorable moment.
Yes, there are moments when what you did some years back, somebody comes to remind you you are their help to acquire what they acquired. You feel you always not lost. You feel lifted. And just as there are tough moments, those moments become very encouraging, very uplifting. When you have helped somebody somewhere and they return to say you helped them. Those in the ministry have been moment that covers the many challenges and the frustrations you may have gone through. Yeah.
Amazing. Now we are shifting into the 24th General Assembly.
Yeah.
What would be your expectation of that GA as you give us your parting shot?
Let me quote a verse in Proverbs 22 verse 4. It says that humility and the fear of the Lord brings wealth, honor, and long life. Some other Bibles say fruitful life. It's like imbalancing, you know. When you remember this weighing machine that we used to have, where on one side you would put maybe meat or sugar or something against maybe 2 kilo,
the weighing, whatever,
the weight there. And so you knew that the 2 kilos will balance when the other substance will be 2 kilos.
2 kilos, yeah.
So it's like a weighing machine here, that you are promised by the word of the Lord that it is the humility and the fear of the Lord that will bring wealth, prosperity, and will bring honor. That honor you can't buy it. It has to be bestowed to you. And it also brings life. We expect that we are digital now, and there are so many things that go out through the social media that have not gone through the vetting or through the church, and still things are there. We hope that we will be able to bring to our attention that some things, though they are said, the policies of the church still stands. We are expecting the General Assembly and Board and General Assembly maybe to make adoption on how to walk along with this digital era, that freedom of expression is far beyond what has ever been imagined. To the government, to individuals, it's actually we are heading to that level where there is no privacy at all with issue.
Right.
It is shared through TikTok, it's shared through Facebook. It is, this moment. How can we now respond? We won't be expecting to respond. They are responding to church. Help the church to change to respond to these issues. There are also things we have been doing and sometimes don't seem to be making a lot of progress. I was inside when we began, when we inherited projects, we tried to handle them. We were not able to do some of them. We handed over to the other GA. They tried their helpers. Maybe God's wisdom will prevail to the 24th General Assembly, the moderator and his team, and the business committee of the time of this coming General Assembly. And prayerfully, we have a solution to some of them because they have been outstanding. Again, we received some, we handed over. We messed in some because some things were done that today they are very costly. Sometimes you inherit a loan and realize the loan is still being paid even today and it has never finished. So what do we do with such things to completely? We pray for God's wisdom and in humility and the fear of the Lord. The wealth we are seeking won't be available. So we pray for the 24th GA to be able to have the wisdom, creativity, and innovativeness to end some of these challenges. And there are so many things, but me having been challenged and knowing what they go through, I pray for God's wisdom to be able to handle the many issues. And we are also dealing with a generation that is not as the older generation.
Right.
Those people require answers now. They don't wait for long. They make action. How can we accommodate some of these people with speed that we are not capable of working with, because sometimes they have something I need or they have an issue, but they don't wait for the systems of the church to do with them what we do with them. I think there are a lot of things, but physically, the office is there to run, but there are those other issues that keep on coming. So even in the 24th General Assembly, issues will come, and the old ones are continuing.
Yeah.
So wisdom to handle them.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rev. That's where we'll leave this at. Thank you so much for your time. Tumeshukuru sana.
Thank you for accepting me to
Yes.
share. I hope I've not offended anybody
We
in
are
the
perfectly
process.
honest.
But I've shared what I went through
Sure.
and what we were doing.
Thank you for your insights.
Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless CAC TV. It's
Amen.
a dream that has come,
Yes.
that I'm sitting here. Those used to be ideas, abstract, but now a reality is with us.
Asante sana.
Glory be to God.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, that's where we leave this at. Thank you for keeping us company. We were having a conversation with a former Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church, that is Reverend Festus Gitonga. Continue watching CAC TV. Thank you for your support, and God bless you.